Here we go. Now we're live. Good day, everyone. Welcome to Sunday. I'm gonna wait a second for folks to jump on here and for my wife to get and Edie to get the stuff ready. Edie, if you can hear me, I owe you a phone call. You sent me 2 very nice messages this weekend, and I got just stuck in the week. So, oh gosh, it's so bad. Kombucha, it's just the worst. Good day, everyone. I'm gonna jump in and fix that rogue hair. It's out of nowhere there. Jake, you can start the podcast now. If you are new here, let's just go through this. This is a year where things are crazy. Things are not what they normally kind of appear to be as a teacher. This is not the year that you learned how to get ready for when you were in college. It's not the year you learned how to get ready for in any sense of the idea of being, I think, a human being or an educator. But the idea that you have to figure this out from scratch, the idea that you are in this alone, the idea that you have to recreate the wheel or that you are without a community is wrong, right? What we are doing here on Sunday nights is, or afternoon actually, it's 1:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is every Sunday we are meeting together as a community to help one another be the teachers that we were called to be the teachers that we dreamed of being when we got into this gig. So to do that, we create this space where, every Sunday, people show up and you ask questions. I have answers, but I'm not the only one. There are people that are on this, that if this is your first time, don't be weirded out when Tracy Pinter starts talking about your problem. And you're like, I don't even know who this lady is. And it's like, I'm telling you right now that she's going to have answers for some of your stuff because she's just a wonderful human being. The John Lopez's of the world, and even the Mr. James Peets, who's not with us today. He's
bogged down with
work, yeah. Right? So it is like,
watch it later on the rebroadcast.
Yeah. So these folks will show up in the chat, right? The whole idea here, right, is to show up on what can be the most terrifying day of the week, and especially leading up to, in America here, we have like I guess you would call it a holiday. Halloween's a holiday. I don't know what the root of the word holiday is. I'm sure John Lopez does. But, whenever there is, like we have a half day this Friday, and that just throws your week into disarray sometimes because the kids are just excited and it's weird timing. So look, if this is not enough for you, we also have a Facebook page. You go to the Facebook page and it is Real Rap With Reynolds Teacher Talk on Facebook. It is a closed site, so you have to answer like these 3 easy questions. Otherwise, you just get sent. You just wait forever for acceptance. There's also a book. My book, Teach Your Class Off: The Real Rap Guide to Teaching, is something that is new-ish that came out. That I literally tried to write a book that I wish existed when I started teaching. My wife is distracting me because I see her looking at the computer screen and seeing how much she can see my shirt right now, because we also have merch coming out, and so we got 3, so we had to get test shirts in first, right? But this is the new shirt, one of the new shirts. Education is only ever about the students. Little teacher class off thing there at the bottom. And so these will be available on the website soon, along with a whole bunch of other stuff, but there have been things getting in the way. Like we wanted hoodies made also, but the hoodies are made in Germany, and for whatever reason we can't get them from Germany right now because of COVID. I don't know what the Germans are up to over there.
There's whole lots of issues with learning drop shipping for me on my end. Like so many issues.
It's been a lot of learning,
but it's coming.
And then designing and making sure that they look right. So we had to order one of everything to just make sure that they look dope. But I'm telling you, man, this shirt is pretty slick. I like it a lot. And so, yeah, so that's on its way. That's it. Anything else I want to tell people about? Or if you need, there's all kinds of services. If you go to the website, go to realrapwithreynolds.com. You can get everything from mentoring services to the book to to get the book, you just go to teachyourclassoff.com and get the book there as well. But I'm trying to get closer to this camera, but the dog's right in my way. He will not leave me for anything. Yeah.
Oh, you have to put in.
What are you trying to do?
I wanted to make a link, but that's not touchable. But okay.
Is John Lopez speaking German right now? You know why?
Yes.
Because he's the most interesting man in the world. Those are some of the
See if
greatest
that's-
commercials that ever existed.
Look, it still doesn't make it a touchable link. I don't know.
It's real rapid.
Whatever.
We're tech savvy people. All teachers are tech savvy people now.
I am not a tech savvy person.
All right, I'm gonna keep drinking this kombucha. You got a question for me? So here's what happens. Drop your question in the chat, and then if you put Q or question before it, it just lets my helper Edie know in Texas, so she can help the not so secret wife helper here in New Jersey, who can tell me, who's sitting right next to her, who's sitting right next to the dog.
We have a whole succession of how this works. Okay, Manuel is asking. I think I said that right. Manel. Yes, is asking. Hi, what are some good ways to reinforce students' good behavior? How can teachers build a classroom that's based on trust?
So I think it differs online clearly as to where we are now. Some kids like being shouted out. Some kids want the recognition, the student of the week, the student of the month, the big sticker, the special tie. In our school we do if you get into college, they give you college acceptance tie. If you are student of the week, you get a special t-shirt, then you don't have to wear the uniform for the week, you can just wear the t-shirt. These are things that some kids love, getting that loud and proud, exciting experience. Where I might shout somebody out. One of my things I used this week, I don't remember what the website is off the top of my head, but I found soundboards online that allow me to hit sound effects if students get something right or wrong. And so it's maybe it's that horn noise, maybe it's a Jeopardy noise, a Wheel of Fortune noise, a video game noise. Or if they don't do well, I have one of them is Yoda saying, "And this is why you fail." And so it's just so funny to me, but sometimes it's oh, you got a great answer. Hitting that button and letting the kids know and celebrating them out loud. But not everybody wants to be like that. And I feel talking to my helper Edie, we've had a lot of conversations about this, where Edie is a really wonderful teacher. She really cares about her students. But even growing up, she was no, I didn't want any of that stuff. And I was always oh no, hell yeah, I want all of it. And so, which is, speaks to our personalities very, very well. But for those other students, I think it is putting it on a Post-it. Is she texting you right now?
Well, not about what you're
all
saying.
Right. It is putting it on Post-it note. Hey, you're doing a really great job. Or I want you to know that I see what you're doing. Or getting eyeball stickers. I have a whole drawer of eyeballs in my room. And I just take these little eyeballs, some of them are big, some of them are small, and I stick them on kids and I go, I've got an eye on you. And it's so dumb, but it's just the right amount of praise for students that don't really want it. Or getting stickers. I find even the stupidest stickers from the dollar store, that's a dump truck or an acorn or whatever. It's bro, dump trucks are really useful, and so are you. I want you to have this sticker to remember that by. And it's goofy. So I find that those are good ways to do that. It doesn't always have to be these super extravagant ideas, because not everyone likes to be praised in that same way. What you got?
Okay, Logan is asking how to create a teachergram.
Hold on. Health comes first. I'll tell you this. I think one, it's before you figure out how, it's why are you doing it. So there are different people. Everyone has a different reason. When I make anything, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook groups, writing books about me, having shirts, whenever I make anything in my business about me, just like if I make anything in my classroom about me, let's just go this full route. I'm lesser for it. My efforts don't feel as good. I want an outcome that is going to make me look good, make me feel good, give me the love and respect and the acclamation and stuff like that. And so, but whenever I make it about students, whenever I make it about helping people, whenever I think of my life and how I can, like, so even with our business, making money, right? I love making money. I want to have nice things also. I want to be able to pay my car on time and not every time a tow truck goes down the street, you're like, shit, where's that tow truck going? When PSG&G, the electric company, drives down the street, I don't want to be like, did they just stop in front of the house? Because I've been there and it sucks. And you're like, wait, is that guy?
I laugh because I'm just like, if those are real examples
you're like,
of our life at points.
PSG&G just rode down the street. Do we have checks? Do we have any, do we have any checks?
Oh my God, are they coming
Right?
to shut that off?
But what I want to do is be a blessing to others, right? And even if you're not like a church person, my life, if I can think about being a blessing to others, it shifts everything, right? That's why education is only ever about the students, because when I make it about me, I create different lessons. When I hone in and focus on students, I am blessing them. So Instagram, right? Teachergrams, having a Facebook group, having a Twitter, whatever it is it just about you getting your ideas out there, or are you trying to get ideas out there so that you can inspire, motivate, and change the world of education? Are you trying to get student stories out there so that they can then have a voice as well, so you can fight against some of those narratives that are wrong in whatever space you're living in? Is it you doing Feet Up Friday because you got cute new shoes, you want everyone to know about it? Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Or are you trying to say, yo, let's kick back this Friday and like, here's my message, here's what I'm feeling, because here's what's the thing, right? Your ordinary is someone else's extraordinary. And so in doing things like putting stuff out on Instagram, it can actually inspire people. Now look, Instagram can damn well be a place where we feel inferior, where we feel like less than because of what everybody else is putting out there, and you think, damn, I'm not that good. Like, I'll tell you what, but it can also make you up your game. So when I see stuff that like my friend Shivy from Call Me Shivy is doing, I get inspired by what he's doing. I just literally also had a conversation this morning. There's a guy on Instagram, Jonathan Alshemeyer. Does he just go by, is that his tag? Is it just
Mr. Alshemeyer?
At Mr. Alshemeyer. He is doing really cool lessons in class right now where he's like making video content that is like almost like Carmen Sandiego-esque for his kids, and then I don't know if they're watching it asynchronously or synchronously or whatever, but he's just doing awesome stuff. So you have a choice, right? So I'm getting crushed by that and I feel like a piece of crap, and like, oh man, Alshemeyer's like doing this job and like I'm over here like trying to figure it out, or I get inspired by that. So I think if you're putting stuff out into the world that is meant to just inspire and motivate people, then it can only go well. So that's my take on that. And then try and just be a blessing. Like, go to other people's sites too. Never ask for anyone to follow you. That's the other small thing. Never say, hey, come check out my site. Hey, I think you'd really like this post. It is just blessing people. Go to their sites, bless them. You bless someone enough times, they're going to go, who the hell is this person? And then they eventually look at your stuff.
Even though Mr. James Pete is not with us today, he mailed in a question. So I'm going to, he is asking.
My guy.
Yep. He said, what is something you've done over the past week or two with your students that showcases you being flexible as a teacher? A change up you've made based on something that either wasn't working or something that you just needed to stay sane, or both. Being flexible is always so important, and just look for some inspirations after 9 weeks.
I think one of the things was there's so much good stuff to use online there's so many sites, there's so many places to get information from. So whether you're using like Verizon now has free content on their site, Adobe has great stuff on their site that's free that teachers can use, and I work with both those companies, so like but that's not why I'm mentioning them. I just think it's really good stuff. I always talk about the New York Times having good stuff. There's, whether it's, I don't even know what half of them are. Like, I said that already. Yeah, they do. Scribble or Edpuzzle or Schoology has some good ways to do stuff. Like, there's so much different stuff. Nearpod, Vocabulary, it's endless. What I found was that doing too much stuff was overwhelming my students, was sending them to too many different sites, was a really cool idea, but I found that here's how I'm viewing my year. It is stripping my year down so that instead of being, let's go full nerd here, instead of, and I don't, here's what I'm trying not to do. I'm trying not to hold myself up too high and make myself sound awesome, but this is the mindset I'm going with. I'm taking myself out of for those of you that know these bands, the MF Doom mindset, the Rush mindset, the super like bands that are like super high achieving masters of their craft kind of thing, the Kendrick Lamar mindset, to what is like the punk rock version of what I'm trying to do. What is the old school Eric B. and Rakim version of what I'm trying to do? What's the old school Minor Threat version of what I'm trying to do? So what you're doing is, instead of having a 20-piece orchestra backing your band and you have all these different resources and you're doing all this cool stuff and there's all these things going on, it's like Nirvana was 3 people, like Black Flag was 4. So it's like, how can you minimize what you're doing to the core? Because when you can do that, when you realize that it's the fundamentals that still work, right? You don't need all the other stuff. So I've been pulling from just a few sites. So I've been using, I think I said this before, I've been using Schoology. I use Nearpod sometimes, especially for special education students, because I can embed questions to break up videos that I'm showing. And one other thing I've been using that is going to escape me at the moment. But it's basically, that's it. And so by condensing everything I'm doing, by making every day the same thing, it is a do now, it is a journal entry, it is reading, it is questions. And then sprinkling magic on top of that, that's how I've been doing it. And so when you're trying to think of engagement isn't always the lesson. The lesson is the lesson is the lesson, right? The steak is the steak is the steak. But are you using special sauce on your steak? Are you using wood chips to grill it with instead of gas? Are you like, what is the way you're preparing it? What is the way you're presenting it? What is the way that something you're doing with it, and not just like vocab's vocab? How are you serving your vocab up though? I think is the change. So that's one of the ways I've pivoted a lot, and I'll tell you what, it's saved my mental space. In the last 2 weeks, school has been much easier, much more much more something I can grasp, something I can plan for, and it's just been way less of a strain.
All right, Cheyenne is asking, do you do student conferences? What is the best way to meet/chat with kids about grades and personal stuff with conferences?
I find that, so one of the things I did last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, we started using breakout rooms in Schoology. So when I'm in school, it's different. Like in school, I can just talk to kids whenever. Like I'm just visible. I'm out there in the morning when you're coming in the building, right? Even if I have stuff to do, like I get there early enough to get my stuff done, so I'm not running when school starts. When school starts, and I got this from a college professor who said, he was always prepared for every test and quiz. He never studied right before the test. Instead, he would just sit there like he was chilling. Like my man was just ready for the assessment. And I love that idea because it's even in your head, it's a portrayal of confidence, right? And if there's anything you want to do, anything you want to be in the world, you start by just thinking about like, what do those people do? I just had a talk with someone about this last night where like, if you want to be a great teacher, start thinking, what do great teachers do? And then do it. If you want to be healthy, what do healthy people do? And then do it. Instead of like waiting to be that, it's like just start doing it now. And if you do that, if you act that out now, then you're being it and then you're doing it, and it kind of all comes together. Anyway, what I'm getting to is like, it is confidently meeting my students every day. It's greeting every kid at the door. It is saying things to kids when they need to hear it, whether that's a positive thing or whether it's something that they need like a little bit of, like I guess you could say discipline or like a reminder or some reinforcement on something too. So it's learning how to have those difficult conversations. It's hanging out after school and talking to kids and helping them to know that you care about them, so you're willing to talk about anything that they're interested in. So it's all these different things that you can do in school. It's really easy. Virtual though has been, when I put kids in breakout rooms, and let's say somebody asks me a question, right? First of all, I'm so ridiculous. I'm so ridiculous on a level that like even to share my ideas sometimes I'm just like, everyone's gonna think this is dumb. I will enter the room and I use sound effects that sound like someone is like magically appearing, right? And then when I leave the Zoom room, I do the same thing where I'll just be like, it sounds like glitter sprinkling or something, like magic happening, and then I just disappear from their Zoom room. But when I answer a question for a kid, I always go, hey, real quick, man, that was a great question. First of all, appreciate you asking me that. Let me just ask you real quick. So what are you doing this weekend? You have anything like fun going on? You have anything that sucks going on? If you could go anywhere this weekend, where would you go? If you could, and then it's just like, sometimes it's dumb stuff. It's like, if you could have one more arm or one more leg, which one would you pick? And so it's just like, and it's so dumb that like kids are like, my hope is they never know what to expect from what I'm going to say or what I'm going to do. And it's when you build in that level of sort of fraternizing with kids, I think it breaks down walls, it brings down barriers, and then kids will share things with you and open up to you in a way that really helps you to allow them to figure out how to grow and change into the person that they want to be. What you got, buddy?
Sophie is asking, what is your mantra? And thank you for everything you're doing. Helps me a lot.
Oh, man. I have a lot. I mean,
I was just thinking, it's hard. How do you pick one? I feel like they change.
So, some that I'm thinking of right now. I'll take two that are on my mind for right now. One I like just heard this morning and it hit me so hard. Is so we're part of this church in Jersey called Change Church, and the guy that leads it is one of the most extraordinary people I've ever met in my life. And I think one of the reasons I think he's so extraordinary is he's not just preaching to the choir. Like, this is someone that if you got his advice, even if you weren't religious, you'd be like, damn, that's some damn good advice. And so for those of you that saw my video back in like June, I think it was, on why not be fire, I love this idea. It's a story from the Desert Fathers, and the brief version is this. The brief version is one of the priests goes to like the kind of higher up priest and says, look, I've been trying to do everything I can to get closer to God, right? To be the best version of a Christian that I can be. And even if you're not a Christian, I like telling these stories to know that like I'm not trying to push one way or the other, right? But here's the gist of it. He says, I've been praying, I've been fasting, I've been giving my money, I've been like really trying to like draw myself closer to God. What else can I do? And with that, this guy, Father Abba, raises his hands in the air and fire comes out of his palms. And he says, why not be fire? And to me, that means that's that special thing that I am. That special thing that I bring to the classroom, I bring to my relationship with my wife, that I bring to my relationship with my kids, to my community, to everything that I do. It's that thing that I am. It's that thing that I've been called to be. Because even as teachers, we're not all called to be the same type of teacher. We're not all called to be the same type of spouse. And we see that when you work with someone who's finding success, who's the opposite of you, right? I was talking to my friend Cho this week, who's now out in California, attending Harvard University. And so she and I were talking about what it means to be a good leader. And like sometimes some of her things are like way different than how I think, right? But when I think, what does it mean to be fire? For me, I know I have a sense of what that is. And you can watch the video if you want to get that. Today's quote was from John Wesley, who said, I set myself on fire and the whole world showed up to watch me burn. And that idea of why not be fire, and that idea from John Wesley, right, could sound like someone's a dumpster fire and like the paparazzi's there like watching them burn. To me, it means you are truly living into who you are meant to be. And it is so wildly attractive to people when you can do that. Like, your students see that you're on fire. Your students see that you're giving everything you can in the most loving way that you can. And they can't help. It's like when I say you can lead a horse to water and you can't make it drink, but you can make it thirsty. And so when we can think about in what ways can you sort of light yourself on fire, and I don't recommend doing this in any sort of literal sense. So like, don't light yourself on fire and then tell him Reynolds told me to do this. But it is living out of that space that, you know, kind of reminds me of like John, what's his name? Who wrote On the Road? Lopez, who wrote On the Road? And he talks about being the mad ones. These are for me, it's the mad ones. John Lopez is going to tell us in a second because I can't remember who it was. It's killing me. Anyway, that and then another quote that I saw recently is creativity is intelligence having fun. I really like that one as well. What you got, dude?
Kerouac. Takes a minute before. Oh, and Edie texted me. Thanks,
Kerouac.
Edie.
My bad. I knew it was some crazy K town. Man, I haven't read that book forever. That book changed my life.
Someone is not someone. Paloma
Yes.
is asking, can you
It's a
share
great
the soundboard if you remember it?
I can. It is.
Where'd you get it?
Snap. Here's what I'm going to do. I will put it in the comment section as soon as we're done, and I'll pin it to the top. It'll be the pinned comment so everyone can see them at the top.
Okay. And AB is asking, do you ever get in trouble for your cool little pranks, like sticking an eyeball on a kid's or taping a cell phone to a wall?
I do. So the taping the cell phone to the wall.
I feel like you get eye rolls.
Even saying that, right? Sometimes I tape cell phones to the wall. I don't recommend everyone do everything that I do, right? So I'll answer your question in a second. It is the spirit of what I do. So there are things that I do that I don't even mention on the internet because without context, they don't really make sense. So if I talk about like taking kids, so if kids have their cell phones out in my classroom, I ask nicely many times for them to put it away, and then I take it from them. And if I take it, I hide it in my room, and we give you 30 seconds till you can find it. If you can't find it, I gotta keep it till the end of the day, bro. Or I just take a million pictures on their phones, or I film stuff because you can always still access the camera. I used to take time lapses of the parking lot, so it would just be like all the clouds, and it was actually kind of nice. Like kids enjoyed seeing like a time lapse outside of the building for a while. But like, look, some people lose stuff all the time. Some people, like, you might get in trouble for taking the kid's phone. Whatever, I don't know. It's a million of them. Mar, don't send me tweets or TikToks right now. I'm doing live feed. Mar constantly sends TikToks to us all day long. Do you see the dentist one she sent us? It was really funny.
Sorry.
So sometimes I take kids' phones, I wrap them in a bunch of paper towels, and then I tape them really high up on the wall, and then you can't reach it. So look, I don't recommend everyone do this. Have I ever gotten in trouble? The only things anyone's ever gotten mad at are, I think are people without context. Like, it's like when I shoot kids with water pistols, this is something that pisses the internet off. Or other teachers that I work with, there's one fly in here that is like keeps showing up. So just be mindful.
You're gonna have a Pence moment.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have Mike Pence moment. Friggin' fly sitting on my head. Like, I've had people ask me that have seen me do that. So if you don't know this, I take like a book, right? So if I have a book, I have a tiny water pistol, and I don't even get ones that look like guns anymore. They look like either alligators or dolphins. So it's like as far removed. It's a water squirter. It's a water delivery system, is what it is. I put it in my hand. I put the book over my hand, and now you can't see the water pistol, right?
The water squirter.
The water delivery device. You can't see it anymore, and I just stand in the hallway like this, and I shoot it up in the air so that it comes down on kids, and they always go, did you feel that? What was that? And then I'll do it again, like, yo, I'm not playing. And then they look at me and I go, dude, the school's old. Like, I don't know, maybe something like it was the water. Yeah. So I blame it on the school. It is endlessly hilarious to me. But then I'll have people that have hit me up on the internet or at conferences that are like, you're shooting black kids in a school. Bro, what are you even talking about right now? I'm like, you could take it there if you want, but you're wrong. What am I doing? I am disrupting the ordinary day to make something that's boring funny. That's what I'm doing. And if you want to take it that way, be like, go ahead.
So have you ever gotten in trouble with your admin at your school?
I have been told by my admin not to do stuff, but then I show them what I'm doing and I win every single time. I've never had that level of pushback. So like when I give out mustaches, people get aggravated that kids
Well,
come
other
to their
teachers do,
classroom
yeah.
like, take the mustache off. I can't. Mr. Reynolds gave it to me. First of all, bro, you just ratted me out. Now you're dead to me. So it's like, or any number of, or like the one time, or like when one time these two kids got in a fight, they put this enormous hole in the wall, huge, right? And it's just blackness behind it because it was under the stairs.
Oh, I
And I
remember.
made a sign that said the upside down because it looked like Stranger Things. And admin got pissed off about that too. But like, there's like, but I've never gotten like in trouble because
I
I'm
would say-
always able to explain what I'm doing because it's always for the betterment of the school. Like it's
Yeah.
never like just look at me, look at me.
Well, it's your shirt, right?
You know what it is?
It's all-
Education's only ever about the students. Available
I just
soon
think you
on
probably don't
GoRapWithReynolds.com.
really, you don't ever get in trouble. It's more eye rolls, right? They just get annoyed
Yeah.
at your antics. But they've come to learn that that's who he is, so.
Here's what it is. When you move to your new neighborhood, the cat lady's weird in the beginning. The lady with all the cats. You live there for a while, you just expect it. When you walk by her house, you don't complain that it smells like cat pee. There's cat food. There's 97 cats all over the place. You don't complain as much anymore. You get used to it. I'm like the cat lady in my school where when I walk around the hallways with no sleeves on, when I want kids to go to class and I'm blowing bubbles, when I tell kids the floor is lava and then the admin go, what are you doing? Stop screwing around. Get to class because the kids are walking on just the blue tiles. They go, Reynolds said the floor is lava. It becomes, all right, whatever, just go. Like that, it just changes. Those things change because you people get used to your weirdness.
Okay, Summer Tate is asking, I am having an evaluation observation in Zoom on Tuesday. I'm thinking of using Jamboard for creating an interactive discussion, like Chalk Talk. Any other suggestions on getting students to engage? I don't even know what those things are.
I know what they are. Summer, I think it is. Gosh, that's a great question. So I think one, I'd give myself grace. I do not put a lot into reflections. I love criticism to an extent, and if I trust who it's from, but I don't think observing teachers during this time is the best move because I think all teachers are really trying to do their best. So it's difficult to like have that piece now. So if I was getting observed, what else would I do? I think it is more about creating. So what I would do is try and think of ways to get your students engaged on their level. And then, so if you take something that the students are interested in, right, and then you flip it into your lesson, right? So you can think of something that's going to just get them talking. Think about something that's going to just get them interested in what's happening. And that can seem completely unrelated. So the other day in class, we did, oh snap, what was the journal entry? We were talking about partnerships and how people work well together within the context of the Odyssey. To amp up that, the question, the journal entry was, what is the greatest hip hop collaboration of all time? And so kids wanted to answer that, right? It was like all these crazy different like ideas that they had. And then it was like, well, what makes those 2 people, 3 people, 4 people work well together? What are their strengths that they bring to the table? And then talking about when you have partnerships within any alliance, what are the qualities of a good partnership that people have? And so it tied right into it. It didn't look like it, but that was something that if I started with what are qualities of a good partnership, or what do people in order to work as a team together, what characteristics do they need to have? That's not as exciting of a conversation. But what collab is the greatest hip hop collab of all time? That's something that my students are immediately excited about. And so you can do that. You could also do like what YouTuber collaboration or what, you could take it to wherever you want, but that was just more interesting. And I think when you do that, what you're showing folks is that you're doing anything you can to get kids engagement, and then taking that energy that is built for just a moment and flipping it into something that they have to do is something that can be really useful as well. But also have grace for yourself. Like, not for anyone out there, right? when you get observed this year, like who knows what this is going to look like? And I just wouldn't beat myself up because it's a lot to learn. And everyone should already know is that, or what everyone should already know is that teachers are already like working their asses off to get to help kids to be proficient. I mean, that's my buddy James Pete, who's on here every week, is like off working right now so that he can like give his all this week. And yeah, so I just think remember that. And even if no one else knows that or doesn't think that, you know it. What do you got?
Piano Boy is asking,
Oh, buddy.
my first year is going great, but personal life stuff has been bad. I need advice as a first year teacher on how to keep moving forward. I am positive and uplifting for my students, but internally I am sad. Oh, I'm sorry that you're
First of
having
all,
such a tough
yeah,
year.
that's really
or
difficult.
personal.
I think one is giving yourself time and space to sort of process some of that stuff. I know that when our personal life is bad or difficult or, gosh, I mean, everything from like losing a lot of people in the last year and a half, 2 years in our family.
Oh my gosh, we had like three major losses in like a year and a half.
4 if you count Uncle Fran, right? So it's just
wow,
like,
just happened.
it is. So here I'll give you two very simple things, and they're going to seem too simple maybe, but this is what I think you should do. One is giving yourself time to grieve or time to feel bad about stuff and time to work on yourself. So that might look like stepping back from your work that you have to do for school, but being okay with doing that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, love that kid. And what that's going to allow you to do, that really just changed the sound in here immensely.
Yeah, it does.
My ADD is all over the
Sorry.
place right now, but what that's going to do is allow you to heal, right? So like if you look at someone that if you get like a cut or you get hurt somehow, and if you hurt your ankle and you keep walking on it, it's just going to get worse. If you have a cut and you keep messing with it all the time, like it's going to get worse. It's like when you have a pimple and you pop it and then you keep picking it and messing with it and stuff. It's like, dude, leave the pimple alone. It'll friggin' heal. So it's giving yourself time and space to heal in these moments. Or and healing doesn't look like it's all better. Healing looks like I'm not like depressed laying in my bed under the covers at 12 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. It's like, no, I'm like, I'm expelling some of that hurt so that I can give myself room to take a breath, to heal, to feel better. The other thing is not feeling like you have to be something in class if you're not there. Look, I think that 90% of teaching is acting. There are days when I go into school and I act like things are great and they're not great. There are days when I go into school and I act mad when I'm not really that mad. It's an acting piece. But if you're not there, to me, it's being open with my students in some regard and saying like, hey, look, I have something going on. Like when my brother-in-law died last February, not so secret wife's brother, suddenly, it was letting my class know, look, this is what I'm going through. I'm not feeling it. I'm not telling you this because you're going to piss me off or because I'm going to get mad. It's like, just know that I'm going through this and I don't have like I can't be, electric today. I'm feeling like, I'm feeling like pretty wiped out. And I find that when we do that, when we share our vulnerability with our students, it allows our students to share their vulnerability with us. You're being the example of what you want to see in your classroom. And that's what we always have to do, right? If you want your kids to be kind, you got to be kinder. If you want your kids to work hard, you got to work hard, harder than anyone there. If you want your kids to be vulnerable, to be open, to share with you, you have to be willing to do all those things with your students as well. So I think just doing those two things are the top two things I would think of to do. I hope you get better, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
Michael is asking, how do you help faculty/students who always see the glass half empty or are always focusing on the negative begin to develop a positive mind frame?
I don't know about faculty. I think they're they're grown-ups, right? So it's just like, go be a grown-up and you're going to be who you're going to be, right? I think if anything, go ahead.
I don't think that's fair, but I don't think that unless you have. I am.
Yeah, domestic dispute time. Ding, 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 ding. Go ahead.
Where's your soundboard?
I know.
No, I think if you're not. For faculty, it's just difficult because to do that, I think you have to have a connection, right? You can't just do that with people that you don't have any relationship or depth with, like that you're talking about. That affects like major internal stuff. Like when you already don't naturally have that mind frame, I think for adults, it takes a lot of internal look at like why, and there's a lot of baggage that could probably like be attached to that.
Yeah.
So I just don't think it's an easier shift, but for students. Take it away.
For teachers, I would say here's why I hasten to give advice to those that don't ask for it, right? So like if you're not asking me how to look at the glass half full, I'm not going to give you advice on it. But what I can do is live it out. What I can do is be the example and be this, and be. What I can do is, like I said, set myself on fire and watch the whole world to show up to watch me burn, right? So it's like that. I think that positivity is infectious. It's probably sometimes annoying to people also, but it probably is annoying because you don't have it also. And I can see that in myself. I can see how like the stuff that I do could be annoying to people. It's like, oh my God, could you take a breath and like just knock it off or take it down a notch? And it's like, I can't. Like I'm too stoked about what's going on to do that. To kids, though, I think we have a different opportunity and a different obligation because they're growing and changing.
And learning.
And yeah, they're learning who to be.
Yeah. And
so sometimes when you're young, I think that it's easier to make fun of someone than it is to lift somebody up. When you make fun of someone, you make other people laugh, or the person that likes you is like, oh, you're kind of funny. And you're like, yeah, girl. Because you are like, so quick and you're so witty and you're, but like the kid that you're saying it to, like the people don't, like the kids you're growing up with don't always get like, yeah, it's kind of a jerk move, dude. Like that kid like didn't deserve it, or he's not as strong as you, or, whatever it is. So I think we have that opportunity. I think it just takes small shifts with students to help them, because look, here's what it comes down to, and here's what most people don't know anyway, right? Adults and kids, is that you are 90%, 95% of what you think about today is what you thought about yesterday. And if what you thought about yesterday is what you're thinking about today, if that's this negative script that you keep talking to yourself about, and when you wake up in the morning, if it's ugh, if you look at your body in the mirror and it's ugh, if it's you don't like the way that you dress and that uggs you, if you don't like the way your house is, what your money situation is, what your classroom looks like, what your relationship with your peers looks like, your spouse, with your students, it is when all that stuff is this dialogue going on in your head of, I'll never be good enough, I'm not strong enough, I don't have what it takes to be a good teacher, I'll never be like, X. If you that negative talk is only going to keep you down. And I don't think young people know that they're even doing that. Hell, I don't think most adults know that they're doing that all the time. But when you can get students to say, right, it's not bad that you're having those thoughts. It's not bad that you're talking to yourself in that way, right? It's not bad. What you need to do is talk back to it. When you are passively bullying yourself and you're not standing up to yourself, bro, how can you stand up to anybody else? Like, you need to tell that, like, that voice in your head that says, I'm not good enough, I'm too fat, I'm not handsome enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not coordinated enough to try out for the football team. Those guys wouldn't want to be friends with me because I'm not cool enough. Like, telling yourself, like, yo, shut up. And I just had this conversation last night too, with someone, where it's not telling yourself to shut up. Like, what I do is I snap my fingers and I say, stop it. This is what I do when I have these conversations with them. Stop it. Because I need to have like a cue that makes me go, that's not true. Like, or is that really true? Does your wife not really care about you? Do your kids really think that this is the thing? Does the school really not value you? And so it's like, it's that kind of thing. Does everyone really hate you? Does everyone really hate you? And so it is not self-deprecating, it's self-correction. It is with love being firm with yourself to let yourself know to knock that off, and so that you can change the inner dialogue. And I think that's what we do with students, is we help them to change their inner dialogue. And I think that that's what, like, that's why affirming kids so much in a way that is their love language, like whether that's low key with a sticker or a note, or whether it's like high praise on the loudspeaker from the office. It's figuring out how to best communicate with those kids, and then doing it so much that it's like, I just think of that time that I got an email from I got text from a student who I used to tell, "You belong everywhere" to, and then she got tattooed on her arm. Like, that's how much you say things to kids that they like. I mean, that's an extreme example, of course. Like, I'm not saying everything you say is gonna, someone's gonna get a tattoo of it. But it's like you are challenging their inner narrative is what you're doing.
I think I love the idea of like reminding or asking yourself, is this a false narrative that I'm telling myself? Like,
I literally just had to do this before we came on today. I got pissed off at my son, and I had to walk out back. And I was like, because I hear this voice in my head, and I got to go, knock it off. Like, that's not true. What you're saying is, you can say it, but you need to know that that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And so that helps.
Cole Hatchard is asking, angry parent emails seem inevitable. I've had a long-standing issue. Oh, I've never had a long-standing issue, but how do you not let that email ruin your day, week, month, make you want to leave teaching?
Oh God, this is such a great question. All right, so Cole, here's what you do with that. When you get an angry parent, anything, an in-person visit, an email, a phone call, it is when that person is on fire coming at you. I think it is, oh gosh, I can't even think of a good metaphor for it to finish my fire metaphor. But when someone comes at me angry, there's two things that I do. One, I remind them, I need you to know before we even go any further, I'm really glad that you reached out to me, because your child's success is the only thing that matters to me. Not being right, not getting away with something, not getting you to see what really happened, and they're not telling the truth. So this thing really happened, and or I told him 17 times he can make up the assignment. I don't know why he didn't do it. So now he has a 0. Look, nope, I gave him 7. Nope, it's 17 times, and I don't even do late work, but I did it this time, and I let him go with it 12 other times before this, and he keeps doing it. It's like, reaching your child and helping them to have a successful year is all I care about, right? So right from there, you have someone's attention. Is what we're doing is someone's coming at you, and you're showing them that, no, we're actually on the same team here. We're actually on team whoever your kid is, and we're trying to both find success. How can we do that together? So I really want to hear what you have to say. And then it's not standing so firm on what you believe that it becomes like a fight between the two of you. You never want to get into a power struggle. So if I have a parent that is aggravated because I gave the kid a 0, because I wouldn't let them make up some work that the kid and I had the conversation, and all makeup work was due by last week, but you still didn't do it. And mom's like, but I don't understand, but you didn't contact that with me, or he didn't know, or he told me he didn't really understand. It's going, all right, what's the big deal, right? Like, understanding that whatever decision you're going to make in the context of that conversation with that parent, to help get them on the same team as you, is not going to change the outcome of that student's life, right? So if someone says, no, he didn't understand that the late work was due, even though I'm like, bro, there's 1,000% chance that you understood. We had a conversation about it. I wrote it in an email. We talked about it after class. I followed up with you. You told me you didn't feel like doing it. That's why you didn't do it. But then mom got involved, and you're all like, oh no, mom, I didn't understand what I was supposed to do. It's going, all right, cool. I can understand that. It's a crazy world we're living in right now. In the virtual world, it's hard to keep track of everything. So here's what we're going to do. That work is now due this Friday. Does this Friday work? Can we have it done by this Friday? Or we can make it due on Monday. That way you can do it over the weekend. If he needs help, you can help him out with it. Or you can show up to my office hours, which are on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. And I can help him out with it there. Because look, but know that going forward, I don't accept late work. But I do understand this, and I can have grace for this particular individual. that right there, it just changes everything. Where you didn't let someone get away with something necessarily. You didn't show the parent what was what and put them in their place. What you did was show them that you're a willing participant in their child's success. And now that you gave them the chance, you can then say, going forward, this is how things work in class. That I don't do late work, I don't do makeup work, I don't do extra credit. I do offer retakes on quizzes and office hours on Wednesdays, and really any day after school that a kid just wants to shoot me an email first, I'm there for you because I only want your kid to win. And when you can paint that picture and then show what that looks like. So I'm not just talking positivity, or talking love, I'm showing love because love's a verb. I think that changes things for parents, because then they can let that in. And then the next time they look at their kid and like, yo, my man is there like every day after school. He's willing to help you every step of the way. He'll read this. What he was reading the story to you guys in class, and you still didn't stay back so that you could hear him read it, so you could answer questions together. Like when you paint that picture of what's available, when you're on the same team, it's impossible for parents to really go against you. And sometimes they do still, and that's a whole different conversation. But I think that's the answer. Sorry, that was long.
Oh, it's okay. I wasn't listening.
Thank you.
How do you say that?
Dion, I believe. I think
Too
we're
many
saying it right.
vowels for me. Oh, okay, Dion is asking.
We have
I'm
an issue with
curious.
vowels in our family, which
Yes.
is, why my name is 2 consonants. You ever think of that? CJ.
No,
That's
but
it.
thank goodness. That's why I love you, because I can spell your name.
Hey, thanks.
I'm curious, what is your opinion of giving grades of 50? Example, 50 for nothing or 50 for junk work? Where's your soundbar?
Womp, womp. It's nonsense, and I'll tell you why. Because it is when you work no hours, you get paid no money. The end. When you work all the hours, when you do overtime and you get extra credit, you earned it. When you get 0, you earned it. Giving kids 50s with this mindset that now they can just make it up somewhere along the way is showing everyone else you're doing all this work for nothing. That's why I don't do late work. That's why I don't do makeup work. That's why, and when I say that, it is if you have extenuating circumstances. If you were sick, there was a crisis in the family, you got attacked by a squirrel as you're trying to get into your shed to put your bike away, jumped out because it was eating the bird seed in there. Not saying that happened to me recently, but it did. That is different. But if you were one of the kids that, like, I see dudes on Zoom in bed. My man the other day, I'm gonna put this dude on blast. I hope you're watching this. My man's eating a bowl. I'm not gonna say his name. Eating a bowl of cereal,
Student, yeah.
like this, right? In bed, eating a bowl of cereal, right? I don't have a problem. You want to have a snack? I don't give a crap. I don't care. I don't care if you're riding a toy horse. If you're paying attention, eating a bowl of cereal, mid spoonful, knocked out, fell asleep.
Eating cereal?
Like, my man, I'm like, this is why I'm concerned now, because you're gonna choke to death. And we're all gonna watch you choke to death, and it's gonna be terrifying. You're gonna ruin kids.
Or you're going to spill.
Fell
That's what I
asleep
think of.
eating cereal. And then it's like, yo, can I get a little extra time on this assignment? Another dude the other day told me by the end of class, yo, Reynolds, I didn't get the assignment done. Can I get it can I get it to you by the end of the day? Well, what happened? Like, how can you get it done? It was only 40 minutes worth of work. You had 80 minutes to do it. What happened? Like, really, not being sarcastic or anything. He goes, not for real. I fell asleep for 20 minutes and I didn't get it done. Nope. Sorry, bro. If your mom came in and you got in trouble, you had to have a conversation, little brother needed help on the internet, you could have made up 1,000 different things. You want to come at me with I fell asleep and I couldn't get it done? Trash. So I think kids get what they get, and you don't get upset. Now, what I will do is have that conversation on how can I help you grow? How can we change this going forward? I'm not at conferences the other night. I'm not doing makeup work, Mom, because they're having too much trouble getting done what needs to get done now. The past is in the past. How are we going to change this going forward so your child can find success and grow and change? And that is the conversation I like to have with kids. Forward thinking.
Yes. Hold on, I'm sorry, I lost my place. Okay,
That's all
there
right.
it
Would
is.
you like? I haven't sung a song in a while.
This is confusing me. Read that.
Who? It's
Thing.
Tien.
Tien?
I believe I say that right. all the time.
I don't know how to. Okay,
I rock
sorry.
that name.
Okay, he is asking. I've been
Bloody
laid
train.
off. He said he's been laid off and put on hold because distance learning policies in our district. What can I do while I'm on standby to not feel like a sitting duck? Sorry.
That's a great. First of all, that sucks. But I love the idea that you're even thinking of this in terms of like what can you do to get ready. I just heard this recently too. Some teachers, I think this translates this thing that we were just talking about this morning, get super specific about this is my content, this is how you teach, right? Like it's like classroom management. It's like this very narrow field of vision. What else could you do that would make you a stronger teacher? So my guy David Lee Roth, lead singer of Van Halen, says that everything you've done in your life until now is cross training to be who you are today, right? Like so, like me being a teacher, my years of wanting to be a clown, wanting to be a priest, wanting to be a musician, wanting to be a carpenter, even me, I had a dream of being a trash man when I was a kid because I loved watching like couches get crushed in the back of a trash truck. That's a great YouTube channel, by the way. That stuff I loved. I didn't waste time doing it, even though I'm not that now. It was cross training to be who I am. So what is there that you could do that would make you a better teacher? I don't know that's always teaching stuff. So I might think about how can I learn to be more organized? How can I learn what about leadership qualities? Can I start reading books about leadership, not school leadership, just leadership in general? I think it's going to bleed back into your practice. How can I get more healthy, more physically fit? Because the demands of the job, like sitting in this chair all day, I am sitting here thinking, when we went to IKEA last night, I had to load something in my car. Dude, it really hit me how friggin' weak I am. I'm so weak right now. Because I haven't been exercising regularly because I've been just sitting in this chair. Yeah. And then my back hurts and I'm like, yo, I gotta like work my core out so that like I can like, I like, cause you just sit like this all day, like in this slumped up mode. And so what can I do to make myself healthier, to make my mindset stronger, to gain more mental clarity? Like, I think it's thinking about some stuff like that as well. And then besides that, I'd really be looking at a lot of online stuff and like just create lessons about stuff. Like I would literally, like if I had time off and I would be on like Edpuzzle, I'd be on Nearpod, I'd be on all of those different websites, figuring out how to do them, figuring out how to post lessons on them, figuring out how to share. I would just learn all that stuff so that when I did get a job, I had this extensive knowledge. Because right now, I think one of the things that's keeping teachers down so much, that's burning people out, is there's not enough time to learn how to do the thing while you're doing the thing, right? It's like learning, I hear people say this all the time, we're learning how to and building the plane while we're flying it. I never flew a damn plane before. All of a sudden this year, someone kicked my ass off a cliff and I'm like, whoa, all right, I guess we're doing this. It's like do or die time. And so take this time to grow in your craft and to grow in yourself so that you can show up to any job and feel like you're on fire. I got an amen from Lopez on that one. I just saw it pop up. I don't usually pay attention to them on the side because they distract me. I have ADD.
Laura Green is asking, this could be too large of a question, but what made you want to become a teacher?
The short version, so I have several videos about this, but the short version is, look, I grew up, I was just thinking the other day, I heard a really good podcast. Tim Ferriss was talking to Matthew McConaughey, who has a new book coming out. And I've always liked Matthew McConaughey, but, and I think I like it because he's just such a happy dude. And I was listening to him and he was talking about his dad dying and he said, I'm not glad my father died, right? Like, and I thought this because my mom died when I was about the same time age he was when his dad died. I think it was like 22, 23 years old. I would not be who I am today if my mother had not passed away. She would have been a crutch for me my whole life. And McConaughey said the same thing about his father. So in doing that, like I had these ambitions when I was a kid. I wanted to be like a drummer because I knew I could always crash at my mom's house if I needed to. I wanted to be a clown because who cares if I've made a lot of money. I was like going around the world being a clown, like, but I wanted to be a clown that like worked in like I guess so like so-called developing countries so that I could bring some peace to people that were feeling without it. I wanted to be a monk for a while and a priest, and like I stayed in a monastery for a little bit and like that. But when at one point in my life somebody mentioned, why don't you be a teacher? It was one of those moments, and I've had a lot of these moments where it's like, that's exactly what I like almost like God spoke, right? When I moved to the neighborhood that I live in, which we live in a pretty difficult neighborhood, we moved here on purpose. As soon as I drove in, I could tell you the intersection that I was at, that I immediately knew this is where I'm supposed to live. Immediately knew when I was supposed to get married. Immediately knew when I was supposed to start having kids. Immediately knew this, not only that I was going to be a teacher, but what school I would be teaching at. I have those moments. And so that was one of those moments someone said that, and I was like, yes. And I thought, I've done nothing to this point to get ready for this. But then, like I said, the cross-training piece was there. I'm still on stage every single day. I'm still a professional jackass. I'm still caring for people that are on the margins or might feel like, at the very least, I am making the invisible know that they're visible. And so that, to me, it was like everything in my life was preparing me for what I'm doing now. And now I think everything I'm doing now is preparing me for what's next in this next season of my life. So that's the short of it. What you got, buddy? I really need a glass of water. Like a large glass.
Sorry, I'm trying to find because I'm skipping on. Oh, okay. Jessica's asking, how do you teach a novel without reading the whole novel? Admin tells us to not read the whole novel. All other English teachers read the whole novel anyway.
I do it all the time. And I do it because my students are largely not readers, and they just won't read the whole thing. So if we read the Odyssey, there's this whole version of the Odyssey. I just take out the parts that I think are the most meaningful, or the parts I think are interesting, or the parts I think they're gonna like, and then I pull in some of that other stuff. But what I'd rather do is have them independently read entire books, right? So this is not that important to me. This is a vehicle for me to teach a whole bunch of other things, right? It's not the Odyssey. Like, this could be any book. Like, I do like the Odyssey. I do think that it's important that you read the Odyssey. I think tons of other literature is based on this. I think that there's references made to this book or to any of the other books that I read. Fahrenheit 451, Lord of the Flies, Merchant of Venice. The rest of your life, people are going to be referencing those books in some way, shape, or form. But it's not the book that's the important thing. It's the lessons learned. It's learning how to annotate. It's learning how to read. It's learning how to read for grit sometimes. It's learning how to comprehend something. It's learning how to infer things. It's learning characterization and conflict and all these other pieces. So the book is like, it's like, what is it? Ryan Holiday says, like, the obstacle is the way. Like, it is the obstacle, and how are we going to navigate this to learn all these other things? So in that, I don't really care if we read the whole thing, but I do think there is something to reading a whole book. I think there is something to even honoring the author with reading the entire work that they put so much time and effort and, paid the blood price for, really. But I'd rather do that with books that my students are like at least a little bit excited about reading. So when we do independent reading, that's why I let kids read anything that they want. You can read any book. I'll order any book you want, so long as you read it. And that's been difficult this year because we're, in the middle of this freaking pandemic. But in school, I don't care if you want to read a cookbook. As long as it's on grade level or your level, then you can get it. So I'm not having like ninth graders reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid because I want to challenge you. But I did. There it is. Made it back. Look, turned us in black and white.
Phew.
Made it.
Okay, we were just about to answer or ask.
Sorry about that.
Maisha.
There was an internet issue. We're in the middle of a storm here, though, so I don't know if that messed it up.
Maisha Hutchinson is asking, what are some ways
I love
that
Maisha
you?
Hutchinson. Can we just say
I
that
know,
one
and she
time?
thought I skipped her question.
No.
What are
No
some
way.
ways that you can measure engagement while following social distancing and lack of technology?
Wait, measure engagement?
Yeah.
So, gosh, I'm going to say on the front end that I don't like this answer, but it's literally the only way I can figure it out. Everything in class right now is timed and everything has points attached to it. So you show up to class and here's what we do. First, less than 10 minutes, right, of class the other day, I looked up a different soundbite thing, but it was like all sound bites from popular video games through the ages, right? So like Sonic, Street Fighter, Final Fantasy, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Mario or Mario. I say Mario, they say Mario, whatever. And then it was like, all right, Lil, when you come in, like, don't even do the do now yet, but like, here's what we're gonna do while we're waiting for people to come into class. I'm giving away enormous amounts of imaginary extra credit right now, which no one pays attention to the fact.
No, they
say
actually
it's
like
imaginary.
that it's imaginary. I saw it one of your classes.
Yeah.
You said it was imaginary points. He goes, okay.
Yeah.
Like he was down for imaginary points.
But I don't know what I don't know. It's like, whatever. So I'll play a sound effect and you can't write it in the chat. And this gets kids that don't like talking out of their shell, because I had a kid that I have not heard in 6 weeks of being in school. My man was unmuting himself. I'm like, bro, I didn't even know you could talk. I thought there was something wrong with your speaker. And I'm playing like the Sonic the Ring sound, or what it sounds like when you go down the pipe in Super Mario Brothers or something like that. And it was like getting kids engaged and then saying like, but if you were late, you missed it, right? If you're more than 10 minutes late to class, you missed whatever dumb thing I was doing. And there's a really good site for this called Sporkle. And Sporkle is Sporkle. Sporkle.com. There's all kinds of different weird quizzes. So it could be like you telling me which guys are which so that I can type them in and we can try this. Here are 20 logos from companies. Do you know what all the logos are for these companies? And so it's like Pepsi, Coke, Shell Oil, stuff like that. So that's one. Then it gets flipped to the do now. All right, guys, the do now is up. It is 2 questions. The school wants me to do a do now every day so we can get attendance. So the 2 questions are whatever. They're super easy. Like if you could combine 2 cereals to make a super cereal, what would you do? What'd you eat for breakfast this morning? And is there anything else I need to know that's going on in your life? You have literally 5 minutes to do this. I'm starting the timer now. Now it's 5 minutes, which is more than enough time to do it. Then as soon as those are done, I unpublish it in Schoology. So now you can no longer do it because you only had the first 10 minutes. If you have extenuating circumstances, you can always argue the fact or ask a question later, but that's the deal. The other thing is my journal entry is about 10 minutes you have to do that, right? Everyone's doing the journal entry, and now I can see as you're turning it in if you're actually doing it, but while you're doing it, I'm grading the do now. So you're immediately getting feedback on the do now, right? It's popping up. Or if mom has push notifications or dad has push notifications to their phone, they're already seeing like, you got a great, what'd you get a 0 for already? And then they're like coming in the bedroom, why are you already getting a 0? Why are we playing Fortnite right now, right? It's building in immediate feedback. It's like on Jeopardy, they don't give you your points or your money later, right? You find out immediately right then. So then I grade the journal entries as soon as they start doing the next activity, and I close that as well. So it's the train's moving, but not in a way that I want people to feel anxious. I don't want them to feel hurried. I don't want them to feel like they have like there's a processing thing going on and they don't really understand what to do. That we can work through all of that stuff. I have grace for all of that stuff, right? But what it's doing is a little bit of like urging kids forward. Like we're in a wave pool, bro. The wave's coming. Like you're either getting hit by it or you're riding it. Like so, let's make it as fun as we can. But let's ride the wave while we're riding the wave. And so that's what I do with a lot of the stuff in my class. It's like it keeps moving, so the momentum's there, But then the way you get them stoked about the momentum or about it happening is you do something seemingly or completely unrelated in the beginning, so that when class starts, it just does all that stuff. And then I think like using sound effects, changing my background, doing all kinds of dumb stuff really helps too.
Jessica said she gives away imaginary $5 all the time, and the
Yeah.
students always
They're like stand bucks
respond, and they love it.
from Gravity Falls.
That's fantastic. Okay, we have 2 or 3 more last questions. AB is asking, what do you think about kid YouTube stars or other kids in the class who may not have a social media following and not being as popular? Is it healthy to let kids be internet famous?
I think it depends on the student. I think it depends on the parents. I think that both of my kids have YouTube channels, and I see that their friends feel some type of way. Like Marley got 100 subscribers, right? She's 11 years old. This was a huge deal. This was like monumental in our house. 100 subscribers, because we talk about like how folks have like this conception of what they think a lot of subscribers means. And so even when my students say like, they'll look at my subscriber count and they go, that's not that many people. I go, bro, do me a favor. Put 50,000 people in a room and tell me what that looks like, and tell me that's not a lot of people. Like that's a lot of people. That's a friggin' Eagles game.
Well, it's understanding your power too, right? That's a powerful 50,000 people. That's a lot
Yeah.
of people. Even 100 people.
Yeah.
If someone's listening to you, that's a lot of responsibility.
And so it is. I tell Marley like 100 people in a room. You're now out of the realm of like you don't know everyone. Like I remember when it was like basically the 4 people that subscribed to us, I knew all of them, right?
It's now like friends and family.
Yeah, now I don't. So it is communicating with your kids things like, this does not define your self-worth, right? But in the same way that I would tell my kid if they just happen to be good at football and they were the captain of the football team and they're amazing at playing football, if they were the Kobe Bryant of our neighborhood, that this does not define who you are, right, as a person. The like what kind of feedback, love, or hate you're getting from other people, right? That's just a good parental idea anyway. But when my daughter's friends dog her because like, oh, well, you have a better computer, or you have, your dad's already on YouTube, so you already had help. It's like, no, my kids work. Like to get that done, it is one of the things I think they work on the hardest.
Marley does.
Yeah, just sitting back here for hours.
He does too.
And editing. Bro does too.
Yeah,
Bro has all his stuff on. Bro has the lights set it a certain way. He wants the shades closed. He creates he's my man's into creating the space. He's like the Barry White of YouTube, which is weird. That was a weird metaphor. But he's creating that space. I think it is celebrating the hard work of others, because no kid, Ryan's World, FGTV, no kid that's on YouTube is having an easy time being on YouTube and being successful. It is hard damn work. And so whether that's someone that's a child actor, I think it's working to help students be grounded and to know that their self-worth is not measured by their achievements. It is measured by the hard work that they're willing to put into something. So you want to have a YouTube channel too? Dope, bro. Let's go. Let's get it. I'll even help you with it. You want to be a great basketball player? Let's practice after school. You want to be more fit? Let's do it. You want to be a better reader? Like, let's be the best reader. Let's win the spelling bee. Whatever it is, it's teaching kids that hard work leads to something, and I think that's what I would do for them. What do you got?
Oh, sorry. Melissa Hewitt is asking, when I first became a teacher, I found all of these great peeps on YouTube, and they all left the profession to become teaching consultants or full-time YouTubers. Do you feel like you'd ever do the same?
So that's really interesting. So immediately who I think of is Casey Morris, who's a friend of mine. And let me change this effect because it's going to drive people insane. We could do that one. Casey Morris, we could put bubbles, but no. So that's who I think of, because Casey Morris was like, she was just in Fortune magazine because she made like 6 figures last year, or 7 figures. She made over $1 million last year because she was doing teaching and doing TPT, but then started teaching other people how to do it. This is an interesting space that we're in now, because I see folks that are on YouTube and they do start moving into these spaces where they're not teachers anymore.
I think for us it starts backing up. Like our whole even reason we got on YouTube or even stumbled into teacher social media
Yeah.
accounts, we had no idea that even existed, was because our son wanted a YouTube channel and we were just supportive. And then, but then we learned as the adults who were using all the technology, learned all the skills, and were like, oh, let's. He got done with it. He was like, I don't want to have a family channel anymore, and so we turned that into something else. But the whole reason I think we started it was, or once it grew was, and we learned that there was a monetary, factor in that, was like, well, wow, we could really provide for our family in a way that is needed. That
Because we can't otherwise.
Yeah, that teaching just can't.
If I didn't do YouTube or all the other things I do, cannot provide for my family. I do not make enough money.
Not as the sole provider.
No.
For me to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom and a homeschool mom.
For everybody's medicine.
We rely on YouTube.
Yeah, for their and that's I have special kids. I wouldn't say like I have kids with very specific learning differences that public school doesn't handle. I have kids that have to take certain kinds of medication, but insurance doesn't pay for all that stuff. It's that kind of thing. Here's what I'm going to say to that. Do I ever see myself doing that? It's possible, but I'm going to say it like this. The reason I got into teaching, the reason I live where I live, the reason I got married to the person I got married to, the reason that I'm a part of the community that I'm a part of now, the reason that I take classes that I take after school, the reason I run my business the way that I run it is because I'm always, we're going straight Jesus here. I always follow Jesus with reckless abandon, meaning if I know what I'm supposed to be doing and I know that that's what I'm called to be doing, then that's what I'm going to do. The whole reason for this channel is to help teachers be the teachers they were called to be the teachers they dreamed of being. And so if that vision grows and that's what I feel is I'm called to next, it is not my job to tell what I'm called by, right? So like whether you're spiritual or whether you're particularly religious or anything, but if you feel that calling, it is not my job to say, no, I'm not going there. I'm not doing that. So it is really, I have felt this calling to create YouTube content, to create a specific kind of content that I create, to write the particular type of book that I wrote, to speak to places and to help students and to do the work that I do. So we'll see what's next. It's not off the table, but what I'm looking to do next, right, is this. And I've talked about this a couple weeks ago. I won't go on real long about this either, but to just share. What I'm looking to do is I feel like in culture right now, let's talk about the fact that there are very few black and brown male teachers in the classroom. Very few black and brown teachers in the classroom at all. But like comparatively, right? It's like education is mostly white women. How do we diversify that? Because I think that our students would benefit from a diversity of people that are really well educated, that love what they're doing. Because how do we, let's even go real deep, how do we combat racism on some real level, right? Like some of that is through politics, some of that is through policy, but a lot of that is heart work. A lot of that is connecting heart to heart and getting to know people. So you want to have your kids be anti-racist, have them, like, part of that I think is if you had a black teacher, you'd see someone as something different. You'd see someone as not what your parents taught, not what you saw on TV, not what you read in a book, none of that shit. So I think that part of that is creating pathways and pipelines for people to actually become teachers, because we all know that like student teaching is like 4 months of work, sometimes in some states a year of work for no pay. How do we create that? The idea of raising money is so utterly tiring to me as a teacher to go on Donors Choose. I love Donors Choose. I hate waiting for my shit to get picked up, right? I want to write checks. And so if I can work with some companies, if I can work with some businesses, if I can meet people and create a community of folks that are helping, that it's like you just go to your community, or I can just help directly, I'd rather do that. So every time I have a kid that needs shoes, every time I have a kid that needs, that's away at college and doesn't have detergent, and they hit me up, I want to just be able to give them detergent. I don't want to have to write freaking, the supermarket a letter or go in and talk to the manager and go through the whole rigmarole because I can't afford my lifestyle as it is, let alone helping students. I think that's what the end goal is, to just be a blessing in the world.
Yeah, so for me, it's about all the people that have left or that they have, found through social media.
Yeah.
I just think, what are they doing when they leave social
And
media?
I
with
know
all
Casey
of
Morrison. I
their...
think she's doing, like, she's one of those people I think of that I'm just like, you're doing great stuff, dude. Like, I've
Mhm.
talked to you, like, after the show, like,
Yeah.
after the interview. And it's
Mhm.
like, no, you're up to, like, you're doing good stuff. And I love that. So it's like, keep doing it. Do it loud. Do
But
it
that's
louder.
important, right? I mean, just as important as it is to have good teachers in the classroom. It's a hard thing.
Yeah, well,
I think,
because what you're doing is, my view of it is I can help this many students every year, right? When I can go hopefully inspire, motivate teachers to be the teachers they were called to be, now you're helping an enormous amount of students potentially.
which impacts a lot of
Yeah.
students.
So we'll see. Anyway.
Do you want to end on a different question?
Yeah, let's do the last one.
Okay, Andrew is asking, how do I deal with students who say outlandish things, such as a communist, or this state is fascist? They just kind of like outburst stuff. I'm guessing. I'm struggling with figuring out what to do. He is asking.
I love it. Right? So like kids say the darndest things, right? I think some of it is, Andrew, I just never take things to heart. I never get worried about things. I never get crazy about stuff that kids say. I've had kids say the craziest shit to me where they're just like, you're a racist. And I'm like, bro, like, I swear, like, maybe there have been times in my past, maybe there are implicit bias that I'm dealing with, but I am in no way, shape, or form an outward racist, nor am I sexist, nor am I homophobic, right? Like, it is, I think, sometimes stopping kids and not laughing in their faces. Sometimes it does make me want to laugh because kids will just say like the craziest stuff, like, you want me to fail, you want me to fail. And it's like, have you any idea who you're talking to right now? Instead, it is flipping that, right? Because what's somebody going to say if a kid says something out of pocket? Stop it. You're going to get sent to the office. You're going to get like points off. Get out of my class. We don't talk about people like that. Calling people a fascist or a racist. Get out of my classroom right now. There's no room for that. No, there is room for that. It's called school. And so stopping and going, maybe not right then. Maybe it's later. Maybe it's after class. Maybe it's after school. Maybe it's during lunch. Bro, you called me a fascist. You called someone else a fascist. You called. Can you break that down? Because guess what? What you think, about you, that I want you to break this down for me, because I want you to feel comfortable in this classroom. I want you to be a contributing member of this community. And I think that in this time, here we go, sound like an old guy again, in this time that we're living in of cancel culture, where you say something, act like something. Like, we had a kid last year that was a Trump supporter. It's the only kid in my whole school that I knew was a Trump supporter, right? I work in like a very, like, pretty, people I work with are pretty liberal. And it is what it is. But kids hated him. Kids gave him tons of crap. And instead it was like, no, you got to stay after school. We got to talk about this. Like, I'm very interested. And I think that changes things. It helps kids to know that even though you said the craziest shit ever, that what you're doing is you're breaking it down on a level that you're showing kids what it looks like to be a listener. And not because I want to be right, not because I want to change your mind, because I care about you, because what you think is important, who you are is important, and who you become is important. And so I'm going to take the time, energy, and effort to sit with you and to just listen to what you're saying. Doesn't mean we have to agree. Doesn't mean you're going to change. Doesn't mean you might come in the next day, still think everyone's fascist or a racist or a sexist or whatever it is, or that everybody hates you or the whole world wants you to fail or whatever it is. But what I can do is I can wear you down with love. And that love's going to be all up in your face, because I'm going to show you what it looks like to be someone that listens, someone that cares, someone that's empathetic, someone that's sympathetic, whatever the situation calls for. And I think that is really where students are coming from whenever they do anything outlandish, right? Whenever I had a mohawk, I liked that people looked at my mohawk, right? Even though, like, I had friends with mohawks that were like, these people looking at me like I'm a freak. Bro, because we have a receipt of hair in the middle of our head. Like, what do you think people were going to do? We dyed our hair purple and dudes get all, like, look at it. Why are they looking at me like that? Bro, because we have purple hair. No one has purple hair. We made this look like this. Of course people are going to look at us. It is, but instead of someone just judging me, if they were like, can we talk about this real quick? This is a curious hairstyle. The fact that your head looks like a leopard now. Like, can we talk about this? Like, and I do this all the time with kids that have different styles, different preferences, and all kinds of different stuff. They listen to music that's not the norm. So it is about bringing those kids in closer instead of pushing them away. So yeah, that's it. Done. Cool, gang. Listen,
Long one.
we got that was a long one. These shirts coming out soon. It's not the only one. We have a whole bunch of other ones.
Why didn't you bring the other one to show at least?
Because it's in the other room.
Okay.
There's another one. It says, your attention is more important right now. But Germany won't send me my hoodies right now because of COVID. So I got to figure that out. Have John Lopez call them and talk to them in German. That's it, gang. I hope that you have a wonderful week and you have a great rest of your Sunday. And in some parts of the world, I hope you're enjoying Monday morning. That's it, everybody. Peace. Hitting all the buttons. Or you can go buy the book, too. We'll just say that real quick. Go buy the book. Amazon.